Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm Dee Dee with Pots and Pens, and I was sitting around this weekend thinking about how I started to make this video back in January, and then life got to lifing, so I hadn't made it yet. However, in about 2 weeks, it is going to be my first pen show of the year. And around about this time, I start thinking about what my pen and ink goals are for the year. And and this year, I also want to include my goals for my YouTube channel, and I also want to include my goals for my inks, so pen, inks, shows I plan to attend, and then also any type of collaborations that I am planning for 2026. So like I said, in about 2 weeks, it is going to be time for the Atlanta Pen Show, which generally is my first pen show of the year. That's my home show, so I just always start planning about that time. I don't generally attend a show in January or February. So when the Atlanta show gets here, that's pretty much the time that I kind of sit down and start figuring out what I'm going to do for the year, especially if there's some type of high dollar pen that I want to acquire or add to my collection. Start figuring out like how I'm going to pay for that. Am I going to receive it as a gift? Start hinting in February for gifts that I want to receive, like for my birthday or Christmas or something like that. So I don't have a lot of pen goals for this year. I really and truly like my pen collection. I have not gotten to a point where I have a lot of pens that I'm like over or want to sell. So my first pen goal is really something very simple. I currently have the 4.5 millimeter in the Pilot Parallel pen, and I've had so much fun trying to learn how to use this pen, especially. And then one of the things I also want to do this year is learn how to use this nib in other pens. So that is one of my very first goals for this year, and that is to acquire another parallel pen. So let's say we're going to put pens here, a little line. So first thing is the Pilot Parallel pen. Like I said, currently I have a 4.5 millimeter, and my goal this year is to buy one that is smaller. Okay. My second pen goal is to buy a pen with a friend. So one of my pen groups, one of the ladies in my pen group, she reached out to Twisby. So Brittany loves pink. So this goal is to buy a pen with a friend. And her name is Brittany Loves Pink. And she reached out to Twisby, and they told her that they have somewhere in their agenda the a pink Twisby pen. So all I know about the pen is that it's going to be a Twisby and it's going to be pink. I have started, just between me and her, calling it the Bubblegum Fairy Dust Twisby. That's not the name of it, I'm sure. Someone thought that we were talking about buying the SD Besties, and we weren't talking about that. At least she didn't buy that pen, nor did I. So whenever this Twisby gets released, I've made an agreement with her that I'm going to buy it. I've also decided that since I already have 5 Twisbies, I'm either going to buy this in a broad or a stub. That's my goal for that. Now, as far as pens, or pens that I think are going to be, well, 2 of them I know are going to be high dollar pens. Let's choose a different pen. I started the year out, or around about Christmas of last year, I started telling everyone that I know that's in this industry that I want a Pelican M600. Now, the goal for me on that is that it's pre-owned. I want the pen to have a translucent barrel, and Pelican no longer makes the translucent barrels in these M600s. So that is why I plan to get one that is pre-owned. Also, I want a vintage Parker Duofold. I see them all the time on various auction sites, but they're always in like red or black or something like that. And I really want a different color. And I probably got to do some research on this, because I don't know what other colors Parker made them in the, early 60s or late 50s, or even, so I want a purple one or a green one. I don't want red or blue or yellow. So I know I need to do some research on that. And then another pen that is on my list, let's say 1, 2, and 3. And these are just, like I said, my high dollar pens, or pens that I expect that I'm going to have to either save up for, or, like I said, hopefully someone in my family or friends or someone will gift it to me for a particular occasion. And finally on that list is the Scribo. I have no idea which version of the Scribo that I like. I've only seen one in person, and that was a couple of years ago at the it was either the Miami Pen Show or something like that. Kirk Spear had one on his table, and it wasn't in my price range then, not at that particular time anyway. So I've got to do a lot of research on the Scribos to just decide, like, hey, is that something that's really feasible for me to buy for myself? And then also, what's the difference? Like, what is it going to mean to me emotionally or whatever to acquire either of these 3 pens at some point in time this year? So that's it for me as far as pens. My next category, if you will, is going to be inks. I will admit to myself that I don't need more ink. Okay, let me use my palette parallel just for this, since it's, you see, I should have probably did the pins up here with it also to make it stand out a little bit more, but too late now. So this, I want to say, we're gonna name this section right here inks. And guys, this is not gonna be pretty, but it's for nobody's viewing but mine. Well, I guess yours too. But, you know, primarily it's just in my little notebook here, and I'll go back to it throughout the year and just remind myself of goals and things that I told myself I wanted to do. And I don't care that it's not aesthetically appealing to someone else. Like, it's broken down into sections with me, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna know what all of this means, so I don't have to make it too elaborate. So that being said, I have so much ink. I have ink. Like, I think that when it comes to the primary colors, like black, red, green, blue, purple, yellow, I have a minimum of 2 bottles in each of those colors. But when it comes to something like green, I think at the last count, I have like 22 bottles of green ink, and that's not even including my samples. So for inks, I'm not going to buy a lot of ink this year, but there are a couple of inks that I know just from seeing on various people's YouTubes and things like that, that I know I want a full-size bottle of. I've always been a full-size bottle kind of girl. 90% of the sample bottles that I have, I got from the Chicago Atlas Stationery sale about 2 years ago. They had an ink swap there, and when I tell you, people were like dropping off multiple bags of ink samples. So if I never buy another ink sample, I will probably have another. I will probably have enough. However, there are brands that I haven't tried, and because of, you know, taxes and shipping and tariffs and things of that nature, it will most likely be a sample bottle that I'll get, because I, of course, don't want to spend that kind of money to have a bottle of ink shipped for me. So, ironically, the 2 bottles of inks that I know I am going to buy are by Wearingeul, and they are the Queen of Hearts and Star Child. I have watched people sample and swatch Star Child for about 2 years now, and I have just come to the conclusion that I've got to have my own bottle. Like, that's the only thing that's really going to satisfy me. Now, as far as samples, the brands that I want to sample, and yes, this is a shameless plug for someone to offer to send them to me. And those are the Kitty Ink Pot. I don't know any of the colors or the names of the colors that would just stick out to me to say, hey, I would like to try this color, this color. What I can say is that anytime I see someone featuring a Kitty Ink Pot swatch on their page or in their journal, the names are so hilarious and they're such beautiful colors that I just really want to sample one of those. The second bottles that I would like to sample are Dominant Industries. I don't know what's wrong with this. Uh-oh. This is a vacuum filled, and so I'm thinking I might need to loosen this little top part up here, because it's writing, but then it's also like it's, and it could be this paper, but see how that happens when you open that little, tip part thing up here. This was my first, well, this is my one and only Novelar. It is the original plus in the, I guess we call these the demonstrator with the translucent barrel. It is a 1.1 stub. It was also my very first stub nib. So generally I pull this pen out every March. This is kind of like my St. Patrick's Day. It's spring, and then I will generally use this pen somewhere from like, I don't know, April, May, June, before I kind of switch in pens. But there has been one time when I think I carried it from like March to almost December, because it was new at that time and I just kept wanting to ink it up. Once I caught on with how to fill it, and fell in love with this stub nib, that was pretty much all I needed to be hooked on it. So, okay, we got pens, we got inks. So the next topic is going to be shows, the pen shows. I have to do some work on my home this year, so I am not going to make a bunch of travel plans. So when I say that I am going to attend some shows this year, it is going to be very, very limited. So, of course, the Atlanta Pen Show. Hold on, let's get it. Make sure this is on camera. Oh, Lord, now I'm dropping everything. The Atlanta Pen Show. It's my home show. So it's one of those shows that I will probably attend for as long as I have an interest in these pens and notebooks and all things stationery. So the Atlanta Pen Show, last year, I told myself that I would be good with attending the show for one day. It really starts on like Friday and it ends on Sunday. And I just was like, after I saw how much money I spent, and I was also upset last year because I didn't get my hotel at the show rate. So by the time I paid for like parking and convenience fees and all that kind of stuff, it equaled almost up to like another full day at the hotel. So that was another reason why I was like, oh, I'm just going to go one day. Well, now here we are, 2 weeks out from the show, and I am definitely attending both days. This is my time of the year where I get to meet up with a lot of my pen friends that I really only see at the Atlanta Pen Show. And then it's like, it's like a staycation. I stay at the hotel, and it's so weird because I live maybe like 30 minutes away from the hotel, depending on traffic. But let's say I forget something. I can run home, go get it, and then go right back to the hotel. So I will be attending the Atlanta Pen Show both days this year. I will check into the hotel Friday night. Probably by the time I get to the hotel, the show will be winding down for Friday. So when I say both days, I'm basically meaning Saturday and Sunday. If I attend any other shows this year, it is going to be between the DC show and the Northwestern Pacific show. If you watched my video last year of the mishap with the weather and the flight delays and everything, you know how disappointed I was that I did not make it to the DC Pen Show. And it really just kind of like told myself like it's never gonna happen. That was my second year attempting to go to the show, and something like weather, something out of my control prevented me from attending. And that just really saddened me, and it just took it off my list. And the Northwestern Pacific show is at the early part of July. Now that brings me to the part of this where I want to talk about my YouTube channel and any type of collaborations that I'm going to do. As I said earlier in the video, I have some home repairs that I have got to do on my home. So I will not be doing a lot of traveling this year. And that's why the DC Pin Show and the Northwestern Pin Show, they are just so far out of my goal setting right now. But they are something that I want to keep in mind as we kind of get closer to summer and I start making plans for what I'm going to do for summer. So what I am actually going to do this year are participate in ink and pen challenges and collaborate with others in the community and just try to go from there. So that heading is going to be titled, let's say, collabs and challenges. Okay, so first up, I belong to a group, Rightfully Scribed, and we do a monthly pen challenge on the first Friday of each month. So that's monthly for the rest of the year. Then in April, I'm doing the pen and ink challenge. That is a 7-day challenge where I am going to provide prompts for others in the group. And for 7 days, I'm going to, for lack of a better word, take over the pen and ink challenge Instagram page with those prompts and the designs as me and the community share what those prompts mean to us. And so, not to give a lot of it away, but mine is the first week of April. So you know that my prompts are basically going to be about things that could occur in the first week of April. And then my final, I guess it's a collaboration. Last year was my first year participating in the 12 Days of Inkmas Challenge. Some family issues came up. This is supposed to be in December, but some family issues came up in late November, early December, and I just did not have the mental, physical mindness that it would take to dedicate myself to it. So I didn't do it. So my plan is, I did receive the ink. So thanks to my partner at I Make Plans, she got her part done. I did send her the inks that I was supposed to send. I just didn't film daily with the inks that I have received. So my goal for those inks this year is to basically do a Christmas in July. So my birthday is the last day of July. So just count up 12 days from the 31st. And those 12 days, I'm going to feature these inks. However, I am hoping that the 12 Days of Inkmas comes back this year, and I will be in a better head and workspace to complete them. And that, again, will be in December. And so overall, that kind of almost winds this down for me. A few things that they're not so much goals, but they are things that I need to start making room for. And those are primarily storage. And this is, like I said, these are not goals. These are just things that I need to tidy up in my own pen life. And that is my storage. My pens and inks have now just kind of taken over like a corner of the room, and they're in boxes and baskets and plastic bags and just everything. So I do want to start looking at a better storage system than what I'm currently using. Now this is a goal to shop my stash. I need to start using up some of my stickers because I see so many stickers that I like, but I talk myself out of buying them because, like ink, I have tons and tons and tons of stickers. And I don't right offhand have any pens that I think I need to sell, but what I have is pens that I'm not using. So I'm also going to implement a sell it or use it. Uh-oh, I can't spell it right. What do y'all think about this menu? You guys know that this is like one of my most favorite pens. It is the Bennu Hot Toddy. And yes, of course, I know I just skipped all off topic to start talking about this pen, but that's just what it does to me. Like, to be able to write with this pen and how pretty and gold and it's just, oh, every time I write with this pen, I just fall in love with this pen. Like, this pen is pretty much the reason why I don't have to buy another Bennu pen. In my opinion, it just really would get no better than this, nor would it feed into like my spirit as much as this does. So again, sell it or use it. And I can assure you that this Bennu is being used. I've actually started almost using it as an everyday carry, so it's not going anywhere. But overall, I hope this video doesn't take too long. If you guys have any comments or if you have not completed your pen and ink goals, I did see this on a couple other people's pages, so it is what inspired me to go ahead and sit down and finally do it. And I would love if people would just leave comments more often. But definitely, I would love it if you would subscribe and like and turn on the notifications. Oh, one last thing, my YouTube channel. I've got to become more dedicated to doing this. Like, some of you guys pump out like 5-6 videos a week, and I'm like, how do they find the time? But that's not what we're here for. So while we're talking about my YouTube channel, my goal this year is to create a minimum of 15 YouTube videos. And like I said, for some people, that may not be a lot. But for me, that's probably going to be a plenty, because I work a full-time job, and then I have 2 side hustles, and then I just picked up a 3rd one. So I don't have a lot of, when I'm home, I don't really want to film videos, and I can be honest with myself about that. But I enjoy it when I am doing it. So that's what's going to make it important to me. So please, please, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because when I get to the 15 video mark this year, maybe I'll do like a little giveaway or a surprise or a live or something for myself that I think would be fun to commemorate that I did stick to it and pump out 15 YouTube videos for my fans this year. What else is there? I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out for the next video. But again, I do hope anyone that sees me in Atlanta, please say hi. I know a lot of you guys by your Instagram names, so, don't feel like I'm not approachable, because I totally am. I love to talk about these pens and what we're doing with our pen lives and what kind of inks we're sharing with each other, etc., etc. So thanks for watching, and see you at the pen show.